Okay, so I read this thing the other day. I don't know if it's true or not, but talking about the power of your brain, and that was, um, it was saying that this guy was ready for the death. He was on death row, and it was his turn to die or whatever. And the scientist or whoever it was, doctor, whoever it was, talked the guy into doing this new form of painless death, right? So what he said was that he would put a little cut in his wrist and it would just slowly drip out the blood. He would just slowly bleed to death and he wouldn't even notice it. He would just slowly bleed to death and then eventually die. So so they tied him to the chair and everything, and he pretended, the doctor or whatever, pretended to cut the man's wrist, right? He pushed hard or something like that, so it felt like it cut. And then they put an IV kind of dripper, and it would drip into the bucket. And at first it sounded, a fast drip into a bucket. And so the man thought that that he was leaking blood. And then over time, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or something like that, it started dripping slower. And the man's heart rate went up. He got very anxious. And as he turned white, I mean, he thought he was literally bleeding to death. However, they didn't actually put a hole in him. He killed himself by his own thoughts. He believed that he was bleeding to death, and therefore he died.
How is that even possible?
Because your brain is very powerful.
So if you believe you're dying, even if you're physically not, you could die.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I mean, and they've done that with the placebo effect so many times. They've studied the placebo effect to that degree, where they've given surgery to people, and the surgery, like, they did knee surgery, and some people got actual surgery done, and some people didn't. But they went out in anesthesia, and then it looked like they had stitches on their leg and everything else, but they actually didn't do the operation. But they had to do physical therapy and everything else, just like the other people did. The people and they needed knee surgery. It wasn't like they had healthy knees and they didn't need knee surgery. They needed the knee surgery. The people that didn't have surgery healed their knee just as fast as the people who did have the surgery. Because it's the placebo effect. Your brain is super powerful. So
I saw a study that people in acute pain were given. I mean, it was a volunteer test, but they were in acute pain, and half were given morphine, and the other half were given saline. And I think it said half of the ones that were given saline, they admitted that their pain had gone away, but they didn't. Obviously they didn't know which one they got.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Brain is super powerful. Super powerful.
Yeah.
What was my card on Thursday night? Do you remember something about not being restricted by my limiting beliefs?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I mean, and that's so like crazy. I don't know how. I was thinking about this today when I was looking at, the hermetic principles. I was looking at that. And I was thinking about it like, if I really, 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 really believed this, like, what would happen if I really, 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 really just believed this? Believed that everything is mental and that vibration matters and my feeling state matters. Like, because I do believe it. I do. I know it's true. But there's still something that stops me.
You remember that movie Memento,
Mm-mm.
where the guy had memory, was it short-term memory dysfunction
Oh,
or long-term memory dysfunction? But he woke up every morning not knowing anything about his past, any
yeah.
beliefs
So you
he
had no long
had,
term.
any programming he had,
Every day was a new
what
day.
his name was, anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to.
You can even remember like 15 minutes or an hour, right?
Yeah.
Like
so he had sticky notes written everywhere.
Yeah.
My name is John. My wife's name is Lisa. I have a dog. All these things.
Right. I remember watching that movie and thinking, man, I wish I could do that.
And it's such an amazing concept, because what if
Yeah.
you could wake up tomorrow morning and not have. I mean, I wouldn't want it where I didn't know who I was, my name and who you are and my family and where I lived and things like that. But I would want it where your whole belief system starts over from scratch.
Yeah. Well, kind of like, isn't that like the high five habits? Right? Today's going to be a great day.
Yeah. But yeah, you could consciously.
Well, that's the whole
choices,
point, is programming your brain.
Yeah, you could do it over time.
Yeah.
But can you ever completely wipe the memory, the RAM clean, or the hard drive clean, and start over with just from a clean slate?
Well, I don't know if you could start over completely with a clean slate, but something that you and I have both experienced this summer is such radical changes in our personality. We're like, I honestly cannot even recognize that person back then. I don't know how I could have been like that. I don't know, because I cannot fathom that person. And you can't even you can't even begin to be like that, because there's been such a radical change. Don't you think that would be the same thing in everything? Why would we have a radical change in some things but not in other things?
Yeah, we both radically transformed to new beings.
Absolutely. In areas.
But we still hold on to some old programming, and old memories, and the old reality. So we've jumped reality timelines, but there's such a draw on certain things from the old one that it's almost impossible. It's not impossible, but it's really, really challenging to forget things that have happened in the past, and the way you think about yourself, the way we treat each other, complaining, things like that. But if you could wake up, I mean, a big what if, but I think that should be something to strive for. Wake up every day and forget all the negative.
Right.
Keep the positive that
Mm-hmm.
you learn each day.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the negative.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something everybody should strive to do.
Well, there's actually, a process called revision, and I think Neville Goddard talked about it or taught it, and it's a Rosicrucian idea, but it's basically before you go to bed at night, you rewind your day. So you start from the last thing you did and just keep working backwards and remembering the things that happened during the day. And if there was something that happened that didn't go the way you wanted it to go, like maybe you and I had a conversation and it didn't go exactly the way we wanted it to go, you can rewind that and when you get to that point and recreate it the way you want it to be. And so then before you go to sleep at night, and so you do this right before you go to sleep at night, because the way your brain is set to operate at night while you're sleeping is um, kind of like that hard drive kind of thing. It says it determines what's important to file and what's important to like what's not. So what can I just forget and what's important to remember? Like how many times do you uh like you don't eat regular food on a regular, I mean, like you don't like what could I say, do you remember what you ate 2 weeks ago on Sunday?
Yeah.
Right, because your brain is like, that's not important. But do you remember what else you did 2 weeks ago on Friday?
Yes.
See, so your brain said, well, this is important but this is not.
So your brain decides what's memorable and what isn't.
Well, if you do not tell your brain what to remember and hold on to, then it will determine based on what it has already determined that you have already determined is important. That's the reticular activating system. And so that's the key, is in the morning to tell your brain what you're looking for throughout the day. That's like the high five habits, right? Today's going to be a great day. New chapter starting over today, or what is it? What is it? A new chapter is beginning in my life today. I I can handle everything that comes my way, right? So it's all of those 8 sayings. You're programming your reticular activating system to actually, for your brain to actually find examples of those in your life.
Yeah. Well, answer me this. Can you remember negative traumatic events in your life easier than positive events?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Why?
Well, again, because it is the way that your brain is designed to operate to keep you safe. Typically, happy things in life, things that were positive memories, aren't usually um, death defying. But negative experiences could affect whether or not you live or die.
Hmm.
And so it's a primal pattern in our brains. It's a primal way in our brains to keep us safe. The fight or flight mechanism. The amygdala stores that information. That is the priority information. And I think that's one of the reasons why people complain so much, is because they don't see the positive. I think you and I should do a no complaint challenge.
Meaning
24 hours, no complaining.
I don't like that idea. Oh wait, that's complaining.
I was gonna say we could see who's the first person to complain, and they're the woozer, and then the other person has to give the woozer a foot rub.
A foot rub? That's what you said.
Foot rub.
Said foot rub. What's on your okay?
You're so
It
funny.
sounded like you said foot rub.
I did not. Foot rub. Well, it was a rub and a.
Yeah. So the first person that complains.
Yeah, is woozer, and they have to give they have to give the winner a foot rub. Foot rub. Get your mind out of the gutter,
Yeah,
mister.
but who decides what's a complaint
Oh.
and what is just I don't know what's something negative that's not a complaint. You can say every negative thing you say is that a complaint?
Okay, no. So, for example, right now, right, you just asked a question, and my response is no. That's not a complaint. I'm not complaining. When I say no, I mean it's I'm saying no,
so no
to something.
Is negative?
Well, typically people think no is negative, but that's not a negative.
Are you sad? No.
Right.
Well, that's not a negative because you're not sad. It depends on what. Just go on.
Well, I don't know.
Okay,
Maybe
so
I
who
don't.
decides what's a complaint? Like, obviously, the sun isn't out. Okay, that's complaining. Obvious.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I did a.
What about? I didn't sleep very good last night. Is that complaining?
Complaining.
But what if you ask me, how did you sleep? What am I supposed to say then? Why?
Well, again, according to Kabbalion, everything's a half truth and half lie. So if I said, "How'd you sleep last night?" how could you phrase it so that it wasn't complaining?
I did not sleep good.
I've slept better.
Still sounds like a complaint.
I slept in a nice, cozy bed.
How did you sleep last night? Let's say you're up all night, tossing and turning, your back hurt.
Yeah.
Bad, whatever. You just barely slept. And then your spouse says, "Hi, honey, good morning. How did you sleep last night?"
Mm-hmm. You can just say, "I've slept better."
For a minute.
Is that
5 minutes I slept were awesome.
There you go. The 5 minutes I slept were awesome. There you go. That's a good way to say that.
Can't you see my eyes after that 5 minute sleep?
Well, and that's what I said. Do you think if I said I've slept better, that's complaining?
Yeah, it depends on how you say it. If you're kind of sarcastic, "Well, I've slept better." Yeah, that's great.
I know, that's great. It's not really complaining about your sleep. You're actually saying I've slept better.
I think that's a complaint. You slept better. Because that implies that you did not sleep good last night.
It did.
So you're implying a complaint.
Okay, so are we going to go to that level? The implied complaints are part of the challenge.
If you ask me how I slept and I didn't sleep good, then I could say
those 5 minutes I slept were awesome.
Say, well, I'm hoping tonight I will sleep really good.
Okay.
It's just kind of avoid the obvious complaint.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say that's a complaint.
How did you sleep last night? I'm hoping tonight I can sleep amazing.
Yeah.
So you're technically not lying.
You're not lying.
You're not really
and you're not complaining. You're not complaining, but that is kind of an answer. Like your spouse would know oh, well, you must not have slept good last night then, right? Because otherwise you would have said, oh, I slept great, right?
Hey,
So,
honey, the cat pooped in the bed. Can you go clean that up?
no, tell Abby it's her cat.
No, you say something without complaining.
How is that not? How is that
You said
complaining?
no was a
I said
negative.
no. No, I didn't.
Oh,
That was specifically what I said. Is no is not necessarily negative.
yeah. Okay, give me some more examples of things that are almost automatic complaints.
Automatic complaints?
Well, when you ask your spouse something and it's, you know, they come in the door from work and they're, you know,
okay, so that's a really good.
their ties around their neck and their hair's all messed up and, you know, their briefcase has papers flying out of it. You obviously tell they did not have a good day.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, how was your day at work?
Right.
Well, I still have a job.
There you go. Yeah, that's positive.
Or maybe you don't. Well, now's my opportunity to get a better job.
There you go. That's positive too.
Yeah.
But that's I mean, if it's not a competition, this is a really, like, I think positive spin on this is like, if it's not a competition, you're not in a challenge for a foot rub, one might, as the spouse, if you see your spouse come in the door that looks like that, instead of just like, oh, hey, honey, how's your day? Use your eyes, use your awareness, and actually say, oh, hey, honey, why don't you take a break and let me get you a cup of tea?
Okay. But what if your day was even worse than theirs?
And it's been that way. It's been that way, right? It's been that way.
Was it?
And so would it be appropriate for me to say, wow, honey, it looks like you've had quite the day.
Yeah, that's pretty good remark. When you walk in the door from a bad day,
that might give the spouse the inclination or the door opening to complain about the day. I can just hear it now. Wow, honey, it looks like you've had quite the day. And then the spouse goes into the, oh, you wouldn't even believe it. Right? And then rants.
Yeah, because the spouse just spent, 8 hours work, can't really complain there because for whatever reason, doesn't have anybody to talk to there.
Yeah.
Spends a half hour in traffic on the way home.
Yep.
Raining or snowing.
Yeah.
Gets to the door. I don't know, what would be the perfect response or the perfect remark to say to your spouse when you know they are just not doing good at the moment? What would be something that would not be triggering, would validate their rough day and how they work hard and they punch through it and get fired, whatever.
Right. Well, could you say something like, well, but see, here's the problem, is what you've said. The setup is the spouse that's home might have had a really rough day too.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the big challenge with, I think, young married couples especially with kids, because sometimes you just don't have capacity for anything else.
So
right?
If you both had bad days,
right, that's hard.
What would be an ideal remarks from each one?
Well, I think my own personal opinion is the spouse that had a rough day and spent 30 minutes in the car driving through traffic needs to pull into the driveway and literally give themselves a 10-minute pep talk, meditation time, spend some time breathing, just gather your senses. Because the person inside the house with the 3 screaming kids didn't get a 10-minute break. And then you walk into the house and you say, hey, honey, I'm home. I've had my 10 minutes. You go take 10 and let's figure out how to do the rest of this night together.
Yeah, that's the thing with me. When one spouse works outside the home and the other one doesn't, like it was for you and I for most of our marriage. I went to work and you basically took care of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I would get so caught up in my world at work because it's a different world.
Yeah.
And there's physical pain and stress and mental strife with coworkers and bosses and the weather and traffic, just everything.
Yeah.
That was my world. I never really stopped and said, wait a minute, you're at home. I know how the kids are.
I was also doing daycare most of the time.
Yeah, daycare. I mean, just everything you were doing. I never just, wait a minute, man. This is my world. She's not in my world. I'm not in her world during the day, but I'm in her world at night, and it's chaotic a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I had a bad day. Well, maybe yours was worse.
Right.
Maybe yours was better.
Mm-hmm.
But at least I should have learned a long time ago to walk in the door and say, hi, great to see you. How was your day?
Right.
Instead of, I walk in the door and I put on a pity mask.
Yeah.
Total pity mask.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I was going to say, because
no matter than what day you had,
right, you didn't care.
I was like, pity me.
Right. Mm-hmm. I always felt like that. I always felt like you thought I was lucky to stay home. And that I shouldn't have any complaints. I should just be super happy. I'm at home all day. There was a huge difference when you were at home all day and I was at home all day.
What do you mean?
Well, like on your days off, when you were at home, there is a huge difference in your life at home than my life at home. Because on days when you were at home, you weren't taking care of anything. So I could imagine if I spent my days off, if I was going to work and that sucked, and then my days off, I sat and watched TV. I, maybe vacuumed the floor, sat out, read a book, watched more TV, played a video game, wrestled with the kids. That would have been like, well, I'd want to be home too. But reality was, even on your days off, when you were at home, I mean, unless we had errands and stuff to do that we all did together, I was 95% taking care of kids all the time, and the house, and stressing about the bills. Never got a break. So I envied you for going to work, being around grown-ups. I know you don't consider some of them grown-ups, but there's difference when you're with the 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids all day long and grown-ups.
Yeah, I get it. Now I get it. Didn't at the time.
And I wish, I really wish I would have just been able to tell you. Like, honestly, legitimately just tell you. And I feel like I've said things, but maybe that's just it. Is when I said the things, it just sounded like I was complaining. And so it just didn't land. I don't know.
That took me a long time to figure out that I had, when I was driving a delivery truck full of furniture and it was middle of January and had a 3 hour drive.
Yeah.
That was my stress.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why can't I? Deanna's so lucky she doesn't have to leave the house, doesn't have to go out in the snow and the traffic and freezing cold. But you had your own stresses.
Right.
That I usually saw on my days off.
Mm-hmm.
You never really saw mine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
For the most part. We can imagine somewhat, but not really.
I couldn't. I had no clue.
But I knew your stresses, and yet I still chose to make mine tougher than what yours were. It's like, yeah, we both have our stresses. I didn't think you were just sitting watching TV all day, eating a gallon of ice cream. Obviously, I knew you did a lot, but I didn't compare your stresses with mine. I thought mine are much tougher.
All right.
Mine are like physical.
Yeah.
You didn't have physical stresses, right? But you had all the emotional and the mental. And especially, you didn't have anybody to bounce off things with, to have conversations with, to vent to,
Right.
ask for advice. You can get
Right.
friends, family you talk to on the phone, sure, to help. But yeah, when one spouse goes off to work, that becomes their world. And you build it up to you're the victim in your world. And then you come home and now you're still that victim.
Right.
Even though you're not in that world anymore, you're a victim from that world. And your spouse is like, what does that matter? I have my own stresses and at least you get some days off. Never really hit me, never really occurred to me. Why didn't you ever tell me that? Kidding. I know you did. I didn't receive it, honestly, actually. No, yeah, she's just complaining. But I talked it up to. Yeah, it's a fine line though. It comes down to respect. You have to respect each other.
Right. Well, I
He
think
or
you
she goes off to
choose.
work and does their thing and pays for this house and the bills, but I respect that. Respect it's not easy, but I have my own things too that and I need you to respect me, what I do, and appreciate, respect and appreciate. Right. And we both did a horrible job of that.
Yeah.
Forever. It's a miracle that we're even here.
Yeah.
Honestly, how we didn't warn each other. We were at each other's throats so much, but somewhere we held on to the fact that this is not
You'd
us.
grow up someday.
This is not us. You allow me to grow up.
I held on
she'll
to the
allow me to
fact.
grow up.
One day you would start acting like a grown up.
Well, it was kind of the chicken and the egg. You would treat me like a little kid, therefore I would act like a little kid, and then you would treat me as it was a vicious circle.
Huh?
It was like both of our faults and neither of our faults. It just we couldn't get out of it.
Right.
You basically are what you're treated like, and that's a mask you put on.
That is.
So when an authority figure is treating you like a kindergartner, when you're a 40-year-old man or woman,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna act like a little kid
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to disappoint the person.
Mm.
You don't want to disappoint the person's perception of you.
Mm.
So you just go along with it instead of going, stop.
Well,
I'm not that way.
right. I'm not that. Yeah. I'm a 40. Well, and I think that's I had to really kind of like start to figure out how to set my own boundaries with you know. And that's new. I mean, this is like a lot of this for me is new way of being, a new way of thinking because I just didn't I don't know. I just sucked it up. Like literally just sucked it up. Didn't say anything. Just stuffed it down rather than tell you. And and that's part of like for me, like, in June, the end of May, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. No, I just can't do this anymore. I can't continue to just swallow it. You either listen to me and you respect me and you honor me, or we quit doing this. I just got to the point I just can't do this anymore. You know?
So what happened then? What
Well,
changed?
we went to Tom's. Went to Tom's. And I just had a massive transformation. I mean, a massive change of, I mean, my subconscious honestly was screaming, just be done. Or my conscious, I don't know. I did 2 tarot pulls, and one was, your life is amazing. Leave. You leave, you'll go find yourself, you'll be empowered, you'll become the butterfly you were meant to be. Stay, you're going to continue to repeat the same patterns. Now, see, I don't think tarot is meant to be prophecy or anything like that. I think a lot of it's subconscious reading. It picks up, everything picks up subconscious stuff. And or also picking up, spiritual components as well. But when I like, for some reason, there was like a 1 or 2% chance that there was a bit of hope that maybe this time we could be different. I was like, okay, I can give it one more shot. I'm going to give it one more try. I'm going to give it through the end of summer. And I was like, it's crazy. Just absolutely phenomenal when I think about it, because that decision, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna get one more chance. But I had to go all in. I had to go all in. No secrets, no lies. Just honesty and vulnerability all the time. Like you said, truth and honesty is not just a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. to not melt back into the furniture. For me, to not shrink back when something's wrong. And it's been difficult, but it's been amazing. I never, in a million years, never would have considered that when I said, okay, I'm going to give Matt till the end of summer, that the Holy Spirit would have those kind of conditions. Like, that's never happened before. You know, believe me, because I've been one foot out the door for years. And there's never been any, like, it's so for me, it's just, I had to be influenced by something. I had to be influenced because I would have never considered, never considered it, that would be the issue. That would be the issue. I'm just, it's mind blowing to me. Honestly, if you think about the last 3 months, 4 months, mind blowing to me. That we were that close to being separated. I just, I don't think I've really, honestly, till right now, Matt, honestly, I don't think I've really fully seen that. That's huge. The whole thing is, when I think
How do you feel when you think about that?
amazing. Like it's as beyond my wildest dreams. This is not the ideal. This is not, had no clue that we could have this kind of relationship. But not just you and me have this kind of relationship. That I could have this kind of relationship with myself and see my value to the point of really recognizing my sovereignty to the state of everybody else's. I never in a million years would have dreamt this. Would you?
Believe it or not, yeah, I did.
How?
I always knew that we had the capabilities, that it was possible.
How could you even know that though? Because you had no role models. You didn't. Where did you ever see this before? Who showed you?
Oh, I had role models.
Who showed you this kind of relationship is possible?
The role models showed me what I didn't want.
Yeah.
So everybody I've met in my life has been a little tiny piece of putting it all together of what I would want a relationship to be. And when I met you, you were it for me. You were exactly the person that I would want. Because I could see, believe it or not, I could see in you the possibilities and the capabilities. I saw through all the masks. Good. If I wouldn't have, we wouldn't be sitting here talking right now. But even a tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of a possibility of this actually ever happening, that's all it took for me. My brain tries to be as logical as it can, and I'm telling you,
this is not logical.
No, yeah, it is, because if I determine that there's not a possibility of something, then I don't even waste my time or energy or thoughts or worries on it. If it's impossible, then it's just, no, see ya. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. But if there's a tiny little bit of enough, just a little tiny atom, ATOM of a possibility, then to me, I weigh the risks versus reward. And for me, the reward was this. I'm like, I don't care what the risks are. I don't care if I die trying to get it. So, I mean, I could probably give you some good examples of bad things that have happened to me or that are going to happen or whatever. And if there's absolutely nothing I can do about it, then it doesn't really affect me that much. Like, okay, is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. Why worry about it then? Why stress about it?
So if there's a sliver of a thought that maybe that really gives me an insight into how it drives me crazy, because you will, if there's like a decision you have to make and there's variables to answers you don't know, and those variables are answers that you can find out, but it's like you go back and forth about what potential answer the variable could give you.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. You know what? It drives me crazy.
Too.
It drives me crazy. But the reason you do it is because you want to hold out that silver lining for everything.
I give everything the benefit of the doubt.
Like more than the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I know. I mean, like I said in that speech, if somebody would have told me 35 years ago what I was getting into, and honestly, if they would have laid out every single heartache and hurt and pain and trauma, whatever, and said, you're going to have to go through all these things, but here's the golden pot filled with coins at the end. What does that look like to you? And I would have said, is there so you're saying there's a chance that I can get to that reward? Well, yes, technically. Technically, there's a chance. If you go through all that stuff, the odds all say no, you're not going to make it. But technically, you have a chance. I'm like, okay, and I have to do it.
Interesting.
Because I will never be able to live with myself if I would have said there was a chance that I could have ended up with my dream girl in the relationship that I want, and I didn't take it. And what's the point? What else am I going to do? Well, I guess you'll do. You're not Dina, but you'll do. That's how it would have been. Well, what am I going to do? I've told
What
you
if
this
I hadn't?
before.
What if I hadn't said yes? What if I hadn't taken
Well,
you back on
then,
one of the million
then
times?
there's really no chance. I mean, I could have begged you.
Oh, and then you would have moved on and found somebody else.
Well, no, I'm not saying I would have moved on and found somebody else.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that was a bad
But yeah,
thing.
if you would have left me,
okay.
then I don't want to force you to love me, because then it's not love. Obviously, I'm not. I know that. It's like God gave everybody free will. He could have said, okay, I'm going to create man, and they're all going to love me.
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of that? That's not real love then, if you're being forced to.
No.
So yeah, if you would have left me any of those times, okay. I blew the chance. I blew it. I would have blamed myself. Probably went into massive depression. And who knows? What else? But yeah, you're your own sovereign being. I recognized that a long time ago, that I could coerce you and talk you into things, influence you, and get pity. But when it came time, if you're going to make a decision, okay, I'll try and talk you out of it. But if I can't, I can't. And you'd be gone, and that'd be it. That little microscopic chance of having this would have disappeared. And I probably would have just waited for you to come back, honestly. You really think I would have just moved on to somebody else? Okay.
Well, no, maybe when we were younger.
Who knows?
I mean, after 35 years, I'm sure no, but
who knows? I never dated. I had girlfriends in high school or grade school, whatever, throughout school, and ran away when I was 15. Lived on the street basically for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was. I didn't really date then. Date. But I met you when I was 17. So if you'd have ever left me, I wouldn't have a clue what to do. Hang out at the bar? No. So yeah, you were it for me. I'll do that numerous times. That if I would have ever thought for a minute that there was no chance of this, then I would have left, or I would have let you leave, or whatever. But I always knew. I always knew this.
But how did you know this, though? That's what I don't understand.
How did I know that this was the reward?
But this relationship that we have, how did you even know this was possible? Never seen it in any other relationship, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, but I'm pretty sure that there's a possibility with Dina, especially Dina, that I could have this amazing, loving relationship, passionate, and best friends, and favorite people, and she's going to be so open and honest and vulnerable with me, committed. How?
I saw it in you.
The angels must have been talking to you or something, because how?
I know you do. You probably don't believe me, but I saw it in you, and it didn't take long after meeting you.
Whether, you were talking about the glow,
whether it was other spirits, God, who allowed my heart, really, I didn't see it, you know. I saw a glow around you. I didn't know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
20 years old, 30 years old. What do I know? That's how I see you. I just didn't think it was abnormal.
How could you not think that was
I
abnormal?
don't know.
You didn't see a glow around anybody else. Why would you think that was normal?
Maybe I
Or do you? Do you see
didn't.
other glows around other people?
Yeah, yeah, but not like yours. It's a totally different energy. Totally different energy. Yours is just exactly what I've always wanted. It's just perfect for me.
Hmm.
So it didn't take me long to see all the masks that you'd put on. Depending on what situation you're in, who we're talking to, where you're at. You put on different masks for people. So do I. I did, really destroying a lot of them. And so are you. Yeah, even young age. That's how my brain is and my heart is when there's a chance of something. I'm I have to try. I have to either completely fail or have that chance just disappear or it's going to be success. Basically, three options.
Hmm. Interesting.
So when you take 1 in a trillion shot and then times that by 1 in 3 odds, I mean, you're almost, it's almost impossible. I mean, it's as close to impossible as you can get. Because you would have to take off a whole bunch of masks, and I would have to take off a whole bunch of masks. I knew I had confidence in myself. Like, once I see you kind of give the okay, that because I knew you were more guarded than I was, way more guarded than I was. I could sense that right away. Just because your childhood was totally different than mine. They're both rough, but yours is totally different. But I knew you were the key. And I waited, seriously. And I did everything I could to basically prevent it from happening. Because I just got into just just despair and discouragement just took over. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? I'm 80, 90 years old, and that'll happen?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the point then? But I knew you were the key to it. And I couldn't force it out of you. I can't force you to be open and vulnerable and honest. Like, someday you were going to do it.
Hmm.
I just had to keep hope. I had to. I know you don't believe me, but
I don't. I'm sorry. I'm trying really hard. Just because I'm like,
why would I make that up?
where
What
the
other
hell
reason would
were
I
you?
have?
Where the hell were you? I mean, and I don't. It just was like,
I just told you. It was you. You had to be first.
why? That doesn't even make sense.
Because I've always been overly emotional, whether it's good or
It
bad,
feels
and
like
it's 90% bad.
it feels like you know it in hindsight. Like that's how I feel like you know it. I feel like you know it in hindsight now. Like you can be like, yeah, I always knew this was going to happen now, but I can't imagine a 30-year-old you or a 40-year-old you saying this to me.
Saying this to you?
Yeah. Like like saying, Dina, we can have this amazing life together if you would just be open and honest with me. If you could just be vulnerable. we could have this fabulous relationship, the most incredible relationship you'd ever imagine. I just know it.
What
I
would
just
you have
know it.
done? What would you have said? I would have said that to you.
I probably, if you hadn't changed anything, I'd probably be like, well, I mean, when you were in your 30s and 40s, that's absolutely what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, I really wanted that.
Well, I'm not saying at 20 years old I could have been like this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. You only know what you know at the
Right.
time.
Right.
But it would have.
But you're saying at 20 years old, you knew we were going to have this kind of relationship. That's what I'm saying. How could your 20-year-old self?
I knew that there was a chance. I knew that there was a chance. I didn't know 100% sure that this would happen. In fact, it was pretty much the opposite. It's probably not ever going to happen. But it might. It might.
Well,
so I can't walk away.
What did you call this then? Like, when you were in your 20s, what were you thinking? Like what did you call this? Like, how did you describe that in your 20s? How did you see it in your 20s? You know what I mean? Like, if you were writing it down in your 20s, if you were writing it in a scripting journal or something, what would you have written in your 20s? In hindsight, sure, you could write this, but in your 20s, how would you have defined
Probably
that?
when I was in my 20s, my 30s, very emotionally driven. I couldn't control my emotions like I way better at now.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes I still can't, but way better.
A lot better.
I know, but okay. So when I was younger, I probably would have called it happiness and joy. Because when I was younger, that was so rare. I didn't have a lot of happiness and joy at all on anything. So when I looked at us, I'm like, okay, I did something right. I got married, going to work and providing for my family, doing something right. Well, why can't that one thing that I'm doing right become happiness and joy? Of course it can. Probably not going to happen because you're going to have to go through a lot of garbage to find that diamond. Really. A lot of garbage. And it's going to hurt. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. You're going to be heartbroken. You're going to feel like your soul's crushed. You're going to feel like just wanting to die a lot. But possible. It's possible. He has a lot of work to do and a lot of uncovering to do. And once she starts doing that, finally lets down her guard, then she'll receive the love that you were trying to give her. It'll just be amazing. But that's a lot of ifs. So don't get your hopes up, Matt, because mine probably won't happen. It might. It might. I thought this 20, 30 years ago. Seriously. I don't know why my persona, my heart, my soul work like that. But if there's a chance of something truly miraculous and amazing, and it's going to bring you more happiness and joy than you've ever had in your life, how can you walk away from that? What else are you going to go do? Like that saying, it's hard to wait for something that you know may never happen, but it's way harder to walk away from that something when it's everything you want. It's you can't. I can't say any better than that. What you did to me. You did this to me.
Okay.
You gave me that one wink in your eye.
Mm.
Like, hey man, I'm gonna friggin' rip your heart out. What? What? Someday I may love you. And that's putting it nicely. Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Wow, I kind of like this.